Hey, this is Ben. I'm making a response to Angie's question, am I a Christian? And basically in the video what we have is an argument based on her life and the gospel that the gospel itself reduces to an absurdity, and that if you believe the gospel to be true, then you have to believe other absurd things to be true. And so the gospel is, that God is good and the ultimate authority in the universe is man is bad, which all religions teach that, man is guilty. But all religions differ on the next point, and the solution to the problem of guilt. Basically, the Christian solution is that Jesus, the God's Son, bore your punishment, and that in point 4 would be that if you believe in him you receive. And so her argument is basically based on, it flows from the issue of the free will aspect, that this is a decision you make, and that somehow what about forever? What if she changes her mind or something like that? And so let's look at the options she's given you. Alright, first, option 1, you lose your salvation. If you decide to become like her and stop believing in God. Option 2, you never, like a true Christian can't, it's impossible, they don't have that choice, and therefore if she says that, then she definitely was never really a Christian. And then option 3, it's all make-believe, and that's why, that's obviously the option she wants you to take. It's all make-believe, because if it's not make-believe, then you have to believe all sorts of absurd things. And I want to introduce a fourth option, and the fourth option is this. If God exists, God can give you the choice to control who you will eventually eternally be. I'll say it again. If God exists, God could give you the choice to control who you will eventually eternally be. So let's weigh the options. Let's weigh them and see if there's negatives first, and then we'll look for positives, once we rule out any negatives. The first option, the loss of salvation option, the problem with that option is it still doesn't answer the question about heaven, going to heaven forever. And so in the scenario she's presented, we could still, what if we do like what she did and stop believing in God in heaven? No, so it doesn't really help us here. The other option, it gets pretty absurd, because we have to say, oh, well, we know that she didn't really believe because she seemed like she was pretty sincere. And how can we all of a sudden know, based on the fact that she proclaims to be an atheist now, that she definitely did not believe then? That's, it's coming across pretty ridiculous. And so, well, the third option, there is no God, it's all make-believe. Okay? We won't go into any evidence for or against God at the moment. But yeah, other than if there is, other than all the classical lines that goes down, we'll just leave it at that. We won't say, but we will say there's no hope. Anyway, the fourth option, and the fourth option is pretty straightforward. What we're saying is that, when you get saved, maybe God gave you the ability to control who you eventually be, so that, like, even if you decide to disbelieve, you'll eventually come back around and one day be in heaven forever, if you really believed in the first place. But the idea is that, and with the fourth option, we can say, well, maybe they didn't believe, or maybe they did, and if they did, they'll come back around. So we don't have to say that for sure we know anything, and we don't have to, and it still answers, the issue of how, they can go to heaven forever. So the only negative someone, I guess, could come up with is that this destroys freedom, that in heaven you won't have the freedom, and it doesn't make sense. But that's not true, because in heaven you would be who you are because of a free choice you made back in the past. So it's not like your freedom was destroyed. It's you who chose that. It's more like you're coming into the choice you made. It's like you got married, and over time you slowly come to enjoy the fact that you got married. But it's more like a bigger marriage. the issue with the fourth option is that if you don't believe in God, if you remove the, not necessarily that, but if you remove the possibility of there being a God from the scenario, then the fourth option becomes really ridiculous. But if you enter God into the system, all of a sudden the fourth option starts to make a lot of sense. In fact, the fourth option is the only option for Christians, really, because ultimately God would not be here to give salvation through Jesus Christ for the punishment of sin, but the power of sin over your life. And that's what it's all about, that this is the fear of people who have addictions to various things, drugs or whatever. They're afraid of what their future self will do. And so the problem of guilt that we talked about, each religion has its own solution to the problem of guilt. You don't really have a solution unless you have a solution that's going to fix it for good. So say, I fix myself, some other religion teaches I fix myself and get right with God. Then like, what if I decide to get wrong again? Oh no, what will my future self do? And the Christian solution is the only one with this concept that you're married to Christ, and that's a commitment where you had the power to change who you are and what you are. And you may stumble, you may fall, you may turn your back on it, but in the long run, you'll make good because it's who you made yourself to be, that your choice had lasting ramifications for you, and that it was significant, and that it carried weight and significance. And if atheism is true, then it doesn't matter. We can sit here and worry forever about what our future selves will do, but because atheism doesn't have to provide a solution to the problem of guilt, it doesn't have to provide hope. But ultimately, we like to think that the choices we make are significant and matter, and not that because we made them yesterday, who cares? It doesn't matter anymore. All that matters is who I am today. And because what'll happen is who you are today will one day not matter, and has no significance past the moment. And every choice you have will become insignificant and irrelevant. So this is really more of a free will question, but I'll stop there. Thanks, bye.